takes you inside. Plus, how is the shattered community moving forward?
We will prevail. We are Virginia Tech.
This weekend, Greta Van Susteren hosts Crime Scene, the Virginia Tech Massacre.
Impact segment tonight, race and mass murderer Cho Seung-hui. Some Korean Americans are worried about a backlash. Cho's parents are in hiding, as is his sister. And Cho's ethnicity has become a somewhat controversial subject. Joining us now from Philadelphia, Jam Sardar, Vice President for Broadcast of the Asian American Journalists Association. Now, you're an Iranian, and from what I can see, nobody has exploited the fact that this man was a Korean national. It's been mentioned, and I think it had to be, but it hasn't been driven into the ground.
Right.
Do you disagree?
Well, first, Bill, let me start by thanking you for having me and having the opportunity to tell our side of the story. AAJ's got some 2,000 members in the United States and around the world. We're all shocked and saddened by what happened. But I think what it's important to focus on here is taking the facts and making sure that they're relevant and putting them in context. What we did when the shooting first happened, and that we learned that the gunman might be Asian, is asked reporters around the nation just to make sure that they played fair, that the story really was that there was this gunman out there, that he had done these horrible things. The fact that he was Asian, when that was what little we knew, wasn't as relevant, as an important, as a big deal.
But do you think that by and large the reportage has been fair?
By and large, it has been, and I think that's in large part to AAJ getting out the word to the newsrooms around the country as this was all going on.
I don't think so. I mean, with all due respect, I like your organizations, but I mean, I don't care what you say. I want to report the story the way I want to report it. And if
absolutely.
Some pressure group calls me up, I'm just going to say blank you because that's the kind of guy I am. But let me just put it forth.
Well, we're not telling anybody what to do, Bill.
Here's
let me put it to you this way.
Wait, Jan.
Well, you brought me on the show to talk.
I know.
So you're an accomplished journalist. Let's imagine that you were on the ground the first day of the shooting.
Yeah.
The story would be a gunman kills 32 people, injures dozens more. The nation is shocked and saddened.
No, that's not
Police
the story.
are putting together what's happening.
The story.
And that wouldn't be the story?
No, the story is who the gunman was.
On the first day, when this happened.
On the first second. In the first second. He has to be identified with who he was, where he come from, because it goes to motive. Now, the importance of telling the world that this was a Korean national, and also that he had been in the United States for a long period of time, is that, and this goes to the first discussion we had this evening, if it had been an American, the American haters would have gone wild and, assigned all kinds of terrible motives to this country. They can't do that now because this man was born in South Korea. However, I do agree with you in the sense that, almost like the war on terror, you mention it, you put it into a perspective. And the perspective here is not that much because he was Americanized. He did go through our education. And I think the media's been very responsible in doing that.
I think by and large they have. All we wanted to do is let people know the headline wasn't Asian gunman kills 32 people. Just like on this anniversary of Columbine, we didn't say 2 white kids, launch mass shooting at Colorado High School. The fact that he is Asian when we didn't yet know his identity was somewhat relevant, but it was less relevant than obviously the 32 people who died, the many people who got injured.
Well, there's a terror component in everything now, so you must define quickly who these evildoers are, because there's a terror component in.
Absolutely. Now, so further down in the story, if you were a newspaper, I'd say in your 10th or 15th graph, it would say, and this is again on the first day, details are sketchy. We don't know much about the shooter, but some witnesses have identified him as Asian or Asian American and possibly a student at VT.
No, we knew right away he was a South Korean national, and that goes in the first paragraph in my story. But I think you've got to look at, after 9/11, there wasn't a backlash in this country against American Muslims. It didn't happen.
Oh, Bill. I was in Lansing, Michigan, and I covered a story where somebody shot up
that's anecdotal. The crime stats say
it's not anecdotal. I covered
it.
Somebody shot at a mosque in East Lansing, Michigan, right where Michigan State is.
But it has been very small. The crime stats are very small. It just speaks to the fact that we're not a nation that goes out and does these crazy things. Crazy people might, but I feel sorry for the family of Cho. His sister's an accomplished person, has a good job in Washington, and parents must be terrified.
I do too, but to suggest that there wasn't backlash against Muslims or people from the Middle East after September 11th.
To be fair, not much. Mr. Sardar, thanks very much.
Wrong.
We appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me listen.
All right. Wise guy. But that's all right. Directly ahead, Dick Morris on how the Virginia Tech massacre might help the Democratic presidential candidate. And then Geraldo on gun control and other thoughts gleaned from this week's deadly events. Upcoming.